Can I just speak? Is that okay? I mean, I'll talk about, but I've got to sort of like ease into it, you know? So it's never a major talk or anything. I like to keep things to myself. Some people call it private or whatever, but it's more being sort of inward, right? Anyway, I found that a lot of times when you ask for stuff, or maybe have questions about things, that there is not always an answer out there. You can ask over and over, but you don't all the time hear something back. Speaking of that, you can hear me okay, right? Can you? I guess so. It's interesting, you know, how things will work out. I mean, we're in on all these big planetary decisions and shit, but you want to know how I feel? I think that we're just spinning around out there, completely out of whack, and there is no way of ever getting it right again. I mean, back on track or whatever, just can't do it. We've been doing things wrong for so long now that after a while it just starts to feel okay. Like, this is how it's got to be. There is a Greek word for that. I learned it at school. He taught it to me. Well, I guess I heard it from him, because if I'd learned it, I could tell you what it was, right? I know it's Greek though, I caught that much, but I don't remember. No, it's too long ago now. It had something to do with the world. The whole thing coming off its axis and going off in the wrong direction from how it's all supposed to be. And it's all the fault of people. Or mortals. That's what my teacher said. So, every problem we've got is from being mortals. So just because we are what we are, these mortals, it's our fault. Explain me that. You know, most of the time I could not make clear what was coming out of his mouth. I mean, he was really smart though. Had like 2 college degrees and wanted to work at a public school still. I kind of admired that. I was in his class, one of them, first years. He's great. Took us on a bunch of stuff like field trips and up to Chicago one time. You know what's funny? He hit on me. My teacher did. On one of those trips. Yeah. This was the Maritime Centre a couple of months later, and he scared the shit out of me. I did not even know what he was doing at first. Okay, yeah, I did, but I was 13, okay? That's just not what you're expecting at that age. Well, maybe it never is. He came up behind me in the observation windows, and see, this other teacher was with us, and she took the rest of the children down the passageway, because she had this place where you could like handle sea things like crabs and shells and stuff, and this shark tank had this dark room connected to it, so you could stand there and glare, without a glare, look over the windows. And some kids were kind of scared, but I was always into sharks and things. I was. So I'm keeping my eye on this big hammerhead. That's a species of shark, but you probably knew that. And it's darting in real close to the glass. Suddenly, I feel this weight on me. My teacher is pushing me forward with his whole body up into the observation windows, and I can't move. He never said anything while it happened, I mean, not to me. He mentioned something about the tragic nobility of sea creatures. Some shit like that. And all I can see, I can't move the way he has me held there. All I can see is this shark. The one I've been watching coming out of his murk and sweeping past me again and again. And it's not until he's right on top of me that I can see his eye. He turns past the glass at the last second and his eye just sort of rolls back all white as he passes. Fuck, that was scary. Never forgotten it. That feeling. This weight on me. This shark just circling around. Well, what the hell? It's easy to scare a kid, right? But anyway, he wouldn't look at me after that. The whole rest of the trip, not even a glance. And he was always real nice before, and friendly to me. I mean, not in a bad way, not inappropriately so, I don't think. And I wasn't even a teacher's pet or whatever. He was just sort of friendly and open with me, showing me pictures in magazines and jokes. We were starting to be friends, I thought, or at least sort of friendly. Because I think it's hard, for a teacher in junior high where nobody cares. Kids just want to do sports and dances and hang out with friends. So we started to hang out at school, in the library, looking at slides in a resources center, lunch times. It was good. He's good, that, so I mean, fuck. I was 13, okay? It's nice to have someone look at you and not say to pick up your socks. Something like that. Let's face it, 13 is a pretty shitty age. But he wouldn't look at me after. He did give me a ride home though. He did do that from school. I mean, not to look at the outing, sits way away from me at the bus, but back at your building, see, he's responsible for us, so all these parents are there, it's a Friday, and my dad doesn't show, he doesn't show up. Half hour goes by and there's nobody at school but us, sitting on the curb waiting for my dad. Finally he says, my teacher, I can drop you off if you want in the car. Like it was yesterday. I recall this woman singing on the tape player. Real soft and painful. I remember because I had to ask who this was. I mean, Those were not the Bee Gees, and I never heard anything like it. He said it was Billie Holiday. That was her name. It's all he ever played. I mean, practically the first thing he'd say to me after 5 hours. Billie Holiday. And he smiled. It was dark out, but I could see him smiling there. And we were sat at a light, and he says, "She's all I ever listened to. And then you kind of remind me of her. You're always just a little bit sad, smiling, but sad. I like that." The fuck was that supposed to mean? I mean, I was 13, okay, you can't say stuff like that to a 13-year-old. She will be yours for life. She will be. I mean it. Not in front of my house, but down from it, a block maybe. He pulls over, and there's this flower shop there. He parks the car in this little loft they have there, and he kissed me. Jesus, he kissed me. My 14th birthday is in March. I'm a Pisces. How about that? The fish. And he gave me this bracelet. It was all wrapped up in wax paper and put inside my sandwich. Yeah, can you believe that? He hollowed out my bread and put the present inside there. I loved that. It was so cute. And he gave me this beautiful picture book full of several Greek stories, mostly about Euripides, because he found that he was the most humanistic, had like the most humanity of the Greek writers. He said he was most at war with this. Shit. I still can't think of that word, but he was the guy who was really angry about the world being all fucked up just because we happen to be mortals. But it had some nice drawings, and he said I'd like it even more as I got older. I still have it. I found out about the baby that I was going to have one in late April, the 23rd, I guess, and I didn't cry. I should have. Fucking kid myself, but sometimes you can go along, years even, and not growing up at all, and there's other times when you age a ton, you know, in a couple of seconds. So I found out and went straight to his place. I mean, I called first, but I went there. And we discussed it all. Talked a long time. We talked, like I said. And he seemed, and this caught me because I did not know what he'd think, but he was all excited. Not yelling or all adult and shit. He said he loved children and couldn't think of nothing better than having a son or something. But he said we had to be careful. I mean, we both understood the situation, but I promised him I wouldn't tell anyone who the father was. Even if my dad got really shitty about it. And believe me, he did. Or school or whatever. I said I'd keep our secret. And we made a pledge together, there and then on the sofa. And I kept it. Okay. What else? When he left his position at school, this was by a fluke anyway. I was at the general office in summer and the secretary said, "Oh, I heard about your arts and science teacher at Gardner." Well, I suppose they need good teachers in Phoenix as much as they do anywhere, right? Didn't ask for an address or anything. I didn't. Because I was just standing there. Suddenly standing there in that office. 14 years old. The baby in me. Frozen in time. So we'll skip all the hard stuff about when I did tell my family and being pulled out of school, the move to my aunt's house. Sounds familiar? Anyway, Billy, that's my son. Billy William, whatever, was born. A beautiful boy. He's great, without getting all shitty about it. I give birth a bunch of years apart, okay? And I did finally make contact with his father. I did. Wrote him a couple of letters and he wrote back right away. I guess I was only about 16 at the time still, so he was pretty scared about the whole thing. That's what he said on paper anyway. And he asked if I could understand. Not forgive. Understand. I let him know their pet was still safe. And that this wasn't some sort of money thing. I just wanted him to have a relationship with Billy, you know, through me or whatever. I mean, I knew there was nothing for us, not after that, but I just sent him pictures and stuff, and we ended up doing that through a postal box. He got to know his son that way. That's how it happened. The rest, you know. On his 14th birthday, Billy and me, we rented a car and we were living in Utah back then. And we drove to Arizona to meet his father. We'd planned this, the two of us, by letter. And it would be just this one time because he was married by then. Married and teaching in Phoenix. No children though. Isn't that funny? But it would be just this once. At a motel he'd picked in town. Just the one time we'd sit down and see each other again. Well, at least the two of us again. We were in the room, tired from the travel, but he was there, as promised. And it was this big moment for Billy, you know. He was all excited and we even hugged. And it was in that second that he leaned in to kiss my cheek. His head turned toward me, and maybe it was just the light or the sun coming in the room, but I saw something there in his eyes. He loved this boy. All that shit he said to me years ago, it was true about children. He loved them. But also, he was satisfied. I could see the satisfaction in his face. Because he gotten away with it all. That's what I saw, shining in his eyes. He had beaten faith and got away with it. He said he'd be back. He had to run to school or something for a science fair, I guess. And he promised he'd be right back. And he was there at the door as he left. He said, he mentioned that word. Well, whatever. And he smiled to me, whispered, "Maybe it's not our fault after all. We're just humans, right?" Billy was already in the bathroom. We had driven straight through. I could hear the water running. He was in his bath. He loved the tub. Listening to Billie Holiday on the tape player. Stormy weather. I went into the bathroom. I could see him there, through a little opening in the liner he'd brought shut. Eyes closed, steam coming up. Didn't really struggle. Couldn't actually. The shock of it, I suppose, when the recorder first hit the water. It was only a quick snapping sound, like pop of a flash bulb or whatnot. And the softer sound of Billy as he kicked a second or two in the water. I turned the taps off a little later. After I just sat there on the liner, watching him lying there in that cloudy pool of bottled water. His eyes open and so still. Could almost make out Adakia. That's the word. The world out of balance, the world I was looking. That's it. You can look it up if you want, but I'm pretty sure that's it. I knew it would come to me if I waited long enough. I was picked up in Vegas at a restaurant. But you're aware of that anyway, right? And brought back here, obviously. And that's it. So now you know what you wanted anyway, right? Yes, I planned it, but maybe longer than you thought, huh? lots longer.